Did you know that near the iconic Great Britain, there was once a lesser-known yet equally fascinating country called Little Britain? We're all familiar with the island of Great Britain, comprising England, Scotland, and Wales. Don't mistake it for the United Kingdom. But what if I told you that history holds a tale of another land, a neighbor known as Little Britain? Little Britain, known today as Brittany, lies to the northwest of France. Its story takes us back to the 6th century, when a group of adventurous souls embarked on a journey across the English Channel. These were the Britons from Britain in search of a new home. They made Brittany their home and brought their way of life with them. You can still witness their influence in the language and buildings of the region today. Even though Little Britain was small compared to its more prominent neighbor, it carved out its unique identity by blending British and French cultures together. Did you know that there is a region in Africa that does not belong to any country at all? It's called Bir Tawil, a tiny, uninhabited area along the Egypt-Sudan border. This 800-square-mile desert has been stuck in limbo for over a century due to a bizarre border dispute. In the early 1900s, when borders were drawn, Egypt claimed the triangle via a straight-line boundary, while Sudan insisted the border followed the curved path of the Nile River. As a result, neither nation has officially claimed Bir Tawil to this day. Despite its lack of formal governance, Bir Tawil hasn't escaped human interest. Some individuals and groups have attempted to establish micronations or lay symbolic claims to the territory, but none have gained international recognition. As the dispute remains unresolved, Bir Tawil stands as a unique anomaly on the African map, awaiting a definitive resolution between its neighboring countries. So if you want, you can establish your own kingdom in Bir Tawil. Which countries could cease to exist in the near future? Part 1. First on the list is Ukraine. Ever since Russia invaded Ukraine back in early 2022, the country's sovereignty has been under constant threat. Despite valiant resistance from Ukrainian forces, the conflict rages on, raising concerns about Ukraine's long-term viability as an independent nation. Next on the list is Libya. Libya is another country grappling with existential challenges. Years of civil war and political instability have left the North African nation fractured. With rival factions fighting for control and foreign powers meddling in Libya's affairs, the future of the country is definitely not bright. Which countries could cease to exist in the near future? Part 2. First on the list is Bosnia and Herzegovina. Ethnic tensions and secessionist movements, particularly among Bosnian Serbs, have long plagued the Balkan nation. The fragile peace established after the 1990s conflict seems increasingly tenuous, with political deadlocks and a growing sense of nationalism threatening to tear the country apart once again. Next is Yemen. The ongoing civil war and humanitarian catastrophe in Yemen have left the country on the brink of collapse. With various factions fighting for power and foreign interventions fueling the conflict, along with a severe economic crisis, Yemen's future as a unified state grows more uncertain with each passing day. When you think of Italy, you probably think of this country. But what if I told you that Italy has a town inside of Switzerland? Welcome to Campione d'Italia, a tiny Italian exclave situated within the Swiss canton of Ticino. Do you want to know why? Let's go back to the 16th century when the territories were divided between the Duchy of Milan and Switzerland. Despite being geographically separated from Italy, Campione d'Italia remains an Italian municipality, with its own customs regulations, police force, and even its own language, a dialect of Milanese. This fascinating town is a true gem, offering visitors a unique blend of Italian and Swiss cultures. Campione d'Italia is a must-visit destination for those seeking an extraordinary experience. Most Americans don't know that there is a tiny town in Wyoming with a population of 0. Welcome to Beaufort, a place that holds the record for being the smallest town in the United States. Established in the 1860s during the construction of the Transcontinental Railroad, Beaufort was originally known as Beaufort Station. Today, it consists of a gas station, a convenience store, and a modular home, all situated on a mere 10 acres of land. Despite its small size, Beaufort gained national attention in 2012 when its lone resident at the time, Don Salmons, put the entire town up for auction. It was eventually sold for a staggering $900,000 to an anonymous Vietnamese buyer. While Beaufort may be tiny, it serves as a reminder of the rich history and unique character that can be found in even the smallest U.S. towns. Beaufort is still there. It's a busy place too, and it's going to get a whole lot busier. Which countries could cease to exist in the near future? Part 3. First on the list is Kosovo. The partially recognized Balkan nation has faced challenges to its sovereignty since declaring independence from Serbia in 2008. With ongoing tensions between Kosovo and Serbia, and the lack of recognition from several countries, including Russia and China, Kosovo's future as an independent state remains uncertain, exacerbated by economic challenges and political instability. Next is Syria. Years of brutal civil war have ravaged the Middle Eastern nation, resulting in immense human crisis, displacement of millions, and the near collapse of state institutions. With various foreign powers intervening and supporting different factions, Syria's territorial integrity hangs in the balance, compounded by economic devastation and a worsening humanitarian crisis. Let me know which country I should do next. Do you know what the deepest point on planet Earth is? It's over 10 kilometers deep below sea level. Let's take a closer look. The Challenger Deep, located in the Mariana Trench, holds the title for the deepest known point on Earth, plunging to an astonishing depth of approximately 10,924 meters below sea level. This immense oceanic trench surpasses the height of Mount Everest, making it deeper than the tallest mountain on this planet. The pressure at these depths is immense, exceeding 1,000 times that of sea level. Just take a look at these images. Only a select few manned and unmanned submersibles have ever dared to explore these depths, unveiling a world shrouded in darkness. Would you go down there in a submarine? Most Americans don't know that the hottest place on Earth is actually a region in their own country. But where is that place? Let's take a look. You probably think that the hottest place on Earth is somewhere in Africa, near the Sahara Desert, or in the United Arab Emirates. But that is not quite true. The actual hottest place on Earth during the summer is Death Valley in California. Situated in the Mojave Desert of Southern California, Death Valley is renowned for its extreme heat. The valley's high temperatures result from its unique geography, surrounded by high mountains that trap the hot air inside. In July 1913, Death Valley recorded the world's highest air temperature of 134 degrees Fahrenheit. Even today, summer temperatures routinely soar above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. The relentless heat, coupled with the valley's arid conditions, creates a harsh environment where few living beings can survive. Despite its inhospitable nature, the valley's beauty and geological wonders continue to draw visitors from around the globe. What are the largest cities in Europe? Let's have a look. The fifth largest city in Europe is Berlin, the capital of Germany, with a population of over 3.5 million. Next is St. Petersburg, the cultural capital of Russia, ranking as the fourth largest European city with 5.5 million inhabitants. Taking the third spot is London, the iconic city of England, with a population of nearly 9 million people. The second largest city in Europe is Moscow, the rapidly growing Russian capital, boasting a population of over 13 million people. Finally, the largest city in Europe is Istanbul, with an immense population of 15.6 million people. Now you know. What is the richest US state by GDP? The first place will probably not surprise you. Let's take a look. Counting down from the fifth richest state, we have Illinois, with a GDP of over $1 trillion. Next up is Florida, the Sunshine State, with a GDP exceeding $1.5 trillion. The third richest is New York, the financial capital, boasting a GDP of around $2.1 trillion. Texas takes the second spot with its massive GDP of over $2.5 trillion, driven by its energy and tech industries. And claiming the top position is California, the economic powerhouse with a staggering GDP of nearly $3.8 trillion, thanks to its diverse industries. Hidden deep within the rolling hills of Kentucky lies one of the most secure buildings in the world. Welcome to the United States Bullion Depository, also known as Fort Knox. Located in Kentucky, this highly secure facility was built in 1936 to store a significant portion of the United States gold reserves and other precious items. Fort Knox is one of the most heavily guarded places in the world, with a series of fortifications, fences, and armed guards protecting the valuable assets inside. The main vault door alone weighs an impressive 20 tons and is atomic bomb-proof. The depository currently holds over 147 million ounces of gold, worth hundreds of billions of dollars. The exact amount of gold stored here fluctuates based on economic policies and international transactions. Throughout its history, Bullion Depository has been a symbol of the nation's financial stability and security. No single person knows how to get in. Instead, certain authorized staff members know just one of several combinations, and they'd need to dial them separately to open the vaults. Which US state has the most nuclear warheads? Let's find out. Have you ever asked yourself what would happen if the United States opened its southern border? Well, it would likely lead to a massive influx of migrants. Millions from Latin America and beyond could attempt to migrate to the US, seeking jobs, safety, and a better life. This wave of immigration could significantly strain resources and services in border regions. Cities and towns would need to rapidly expand infrastructure, housing, healthcare, and education availability to meet the needs of new immigrant families. Over time, the ethnic makeup of America would change as well. The open border would blend northern and southern cultures more than ever, with profound impacts on language, customs, food, music, and more in the border region and nationally. The effects both locally and countrywide could be dramatic if such a drastic policy change ever happened. Most Americans are not aware that something bad could happen to them and to the rest of the world. The Yellowstone supervolcano could erupt anytime soon, posing an existential threat to life as we know it. The Yellowstone volcano, located in the western United States, is part of the Yellowstone caldera, a massive volcanic system that last erupted around 630,000 years ago, blanketing much of North America in ash. While the probability of an imminent eruption is low, scientists warn that when it does occur, the consequences would be catastrophic. A Yellowstone eruption could release billions of tons of ash into the atmosphere, causing global temperatures to plummet and triggering crop failures on an unprecedented scale. Although accurate predictions are challenging, experts estimate that the next eruption could happen within the next few thousand to million years. Monitoring efforts are underway already. Why does 80% of Americans, or roughly 250 million people, live east of this line? The reason traces back to the early days of American settlement and industrialization, but it's not what you might think. You see, when the first European colonists arrived, they established communities along the eastern coastline due to its hospitable climate, natural resources, and access to the Atlantic Ocean for trade and transportation. As the population grew, westward expansion was slowed down by the formidable challenges posed by the Great Plains and Rocky Mountains. However, the development of railroads and the discovery of natural resources like gold and silver in the West eventually facilitated the westward movement. Yet the momentum of growth and industrialization had already taken root in the East, with cities like Boston, New York, and Philadelphia becoming major economic and cultural hubs. Do you know what is the most peaceful country in the world? Let me tell you. This is Iceland, a country in Europe with roughly 375,000 people. Most of the population actually lives in the capital, Reykjavik. But how has Iceland become the most peaceful country in the world? Iceland's peaceful nature can be attributed to several factors. First, it has a strong social welfare system that provides for the basic needs of its citizens, reducing inequality and potential sources of conflict. Additionally, Iceland has a low crime rate, with a focus on rehabilitation over punishment in its justice system. Another key factor is Iceland's commitment to democracy and freedom of speech. The country ranks highly in measures of civil liberties and political rights, fostering an environment of open dialogue and nonviolent conflict resolution. Furthermore, Iceland's small population and geographical isolation contribute to a tight-knit, homogeneous society with shared values and a strong sense of community. This social cohesion helps maintain stability and peace within the nation. Which countries could cease to exist in the near future? Part 4. First on the list is United Kingdom. The United Kingdom, a union of 4 nations, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, faces the looming threat of disintegration. Scotland's growing pro-independence sentiment, fueled by factors like Brexit and differing political ideologies, could potentially lead to its departure from the UK, effectively dissolving the 300-year-old union. Next is Moldova. Moldova is a small Eastern European country sandwiched between Romania and Ukraine that finds itself in a dangerous position. With its pro-Russian separatist region of Transnistria and the ongoing conflict in neighboring Ukraine, Moldova's territorial integrity and sovereignty are at risk. Let me know which country I should do next. What is the poverty rate in the US by state? The first spot might not come as a surprise. Let's begin. With 15.2% of its state population in poverty, Arkansas ranks 5th. Moving up to 4th is West Virginia, with 15.8% living below the poverty line. The third highest poverty rate belongs to New Mexico, at a troubling 16.8%. In second place is Louisiana, where a staggering 17.8% of residents grapple with poverty. Topping the list with the highest percentage is Mississippi. A shocking 18.7% of its population lives in poverty, the worst in the nation. These states face immense economic challenges that demand serious attention and robust policies to uplift struggling communities and families. Have you ever wondered why does Russia have a city in the near center of Europe? Let me explain why is that. This is Kaliningrad, a Russian exclave situated between Poland and Lithuania along the Baltic Sea coast. It was formerly known as Königsberg and was part of Germany until the end of World War II. After the war, the city was transferred to the Soviet Union in accordance with the Potsdam Agreement of 1945. Most of the German population was expelled, and the city was repopulated by Russians. Today, Kaliningrad is a strategic location for Russia, providing access to the Baltic Sea and serving as a military outpost. Despite its geographical isolation from the rest of Russia, the city remains an important economic and cultural center, with a unique blend of Russian and European influences. What is the oldest country in the world? Let's take a look. You probably thought that the oldest country in the world is Egypt, but that is not quite true. In fact, Iran is often considered to have one of the oldest continuous civilizations in the world. With an organized government dating back to 3200 BCE, Iran holds a significant place in ancient history. The Persian Empire, which emerged in 550 BCE, was one of the most powerful empires, spanning from modern-day Iran to parts of Europe, Africa, and Asia. Despite invasions and conquests throughout its long history, Iran's cultural identity has persisted. Now you know. Which countries could cease to exist in the near future? Part 5. First on the list is Palestine. The decades-long Israeli-Palestinian conflict has left the prospect of a viable Palestinian state hanging by a thread. With continued Israeli settlements in the occupied territories and political gridlock stalling peace negotiations, the dream of an independent Palestine faces an increasingly uncertain future. Next on the list is Somalia. This African nation has been mired in conflict and instability for decades. Plagued by gang rivalries, militant insurgencies, and weak governance, Somalia remains a fragile state teetering on the brink of collapse. Let me know which country I should do next. What is the most radioactive place on Earth? Let's take a look. Third on the list is Fukushima, Japan. In 2011, an earthquake hit the Pacific coast of Japan, causing a tsunami that destroyed the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant. Hydrogen air explosions occurred, causing fires, and 3 active reactors leaked radioactive material. The spillage led to the contamination of the Pacific coast of Fukushima. Moving on, we have Mayak, Russia, one of the world's most contaminated nuclear facilities, with a legacy of environmental disasters. A plant in the region suffered a level 6 disaster on September 29, 1957. The fatalities resulting from the incident are still unknown to this day. And finally, the most radioactive place on Earth is Chernobyl in Ukraine, with radiation levels up to 300 times higher than normal. The 1986 nuclear disaster left a vast area contaminated and uninhabitable for thousands of years.
Here are some facts you didn't know about Singapore. Last one is absolutely crazy. Did you know that Singapore is one of the 20 smallest countries in the world? The main island is 42 kilometers long and 23 kilometers wide, with a total land area of just 683 square kilometers. Singaporeans are the fastest pedestrians in the world, walking at a speed of about 6.15 kilometers per hour. Singapore is the least corrupt city in Asia and the fifth least corrupt in the world. The Singapore F1 circuit is not only the first one in all of Asia, but also boasts of having held the first ever Formula One night race in 2008. The tallest natural point in Singapore is only 164 meters high. Singapore is one of only 3 surviving city-states in the world. The other 2 are Monaco and the Vatican City. Chewing gum is banned in Singapore. Only gums with health benefits, such as nicotine gum and dental gum, are permitted.
What US state has the most armed Americans? This list might actually surprise you. Let's take a look. At the bottom of our list is Alaska, where roughly 57.2% of households own a firearm. Next is Idaho, with 57.8% of its residents owning at least one firearm. The third spot goes to West Virginia, where gun ownership is at 60.6%. Hunting and shooting sports are deeply rooted in the traditions of this Appalachian state, contributing to its relatively high rate of firearm possession. Second on our list is Wyoming, surpassing West Virginia with 60.7% of its residents owning a firearm. And the first on our list is Montana. In Montana, the gun ownership rate is at a staggering 65.7%, which means that for every 1,000 people, there are 33.2 registered firearms, making it the state with the highest rate of gun ownership in the entire country. And the question for the viewers, do you personally own a firearm? What is the smartest state in the US? While many Americans might assume it's California, the reality is quite different. In fact, California is ranked 48th in the US by average IQ, with only Louisiana and Mississippi scoring lower. The actual smartest state in the US with an average IQ of 104.3 is Massachusetts. This state boasts an average IQ of 104.3, a remarkable 9 points higher than the national average. This achievement is largely attributed to its globally recognized education system, which consistently produces some of the most intelligent minds in the country. Massachusetts is especially known for its prestigious Harvard University, which enjoys a global reputation and has students from all over the world. Did you know that North Korea has the 4th largest military in the world? With over 1 million active-duty soldiers, they have the highest number of military personnel per capita globally. But why does North Korea maintain such a large military? It's due to factors like their ongoing conflict with South Korea, isolationist policies, and the desire to project strength both domestically and internationally. Furthermore, North Korea is one of the few countries that still practices conscription, requiring all able-bodied citizens to serve in the military. This strict military culture is deeply ingrained in North Korean society, shaping education, career choices, and daily life in ways you might not expect.
Which country has the highest depression rate in the world? Let's take a look. Depression affects about 280 million people worldwide, according to the World Health Organization. The least depressed country in the world is Indonesia, with roughly 2.63% of its population experiencing some form of depressive disorder. But which countries have the most depressed people? Fifth on our list is Tunisia, with a rate of 5.75%, which is over 3% higher than Indonesia's. Next is Palestine, also with 5.75% of its population experiencing depression. The third spot is taken by Portugal, with a rate of 5.88%. Second place belongs to Portugal's neighbor Spain, with a depression rate of 6.04%, which is almost as high as our next country. And the most depressed country in the world is Greece, with a depression rate of over 6.52%. What is the most dangerous state in the US? Let's find out. The safest state in the US is New Hampshire, with a violent crime rate per 1,000 residents score of just 1.26. But which state is the most dangerous? Fifth on the list is California, with a score of 4.99. Moving on, Louisiana follows with a violent crime rate per 1,000 residents score of 6.29. Third place goes to Arkansas with a score of 6.45. And the most dangerous state in the US is New Mexico, with a violent crime rate per 1,000 residents score of 7.80. This means that you have a 1 in 128 chance of becoming a victim of a violent crime in New Mexico. Additionally, New Mexico has more than 6 times the rate of violent crime per 1,000 people than New Hampshire, the least dangerous state. Do you live in any of these states? Which countries have the tallest people? Let's find out. Iceland kicks off our list with an average height of 182.10 centimeters. The island's clean environment and active outdoor lifestyle are likely factors contributing to this fact. Fourth on our list is Bosnia and Herzegovina at 182.47 centimeters on average. Estonia comes in third with an average height of 182.79 centimeters. The Baltic nation has a strong emphasis on physical activity and sports. Next is another Balkan country. This time, it's Montenegro, which takes the second spot with an average male height of 183.30 centimeters. And topping the charts is the Netherlands at an average of 183.78 centimeters. The nutritious Dutch diet and excellent healthcare system are often credited for producing the world's tallest male population on average. What is the lowest point in the US? Let's have a look. Most Americans don't know that the lowest point in the United States is actually 282 feet below sea level. But where is that place? The deepest point in the US is located here in Badwater Basin in Death Valley National Park, nestled within the Mojave Desert. Badwater Basin is a salt flat, known for its unique landscape and extreme environment. It's the lowest point in North America, with an elevation of 282 feet below sea level. The basin's name comes from the salt content of the small pool of bad water found there, which is undrinkable due to its high salinity. Formed over millions of years through geological processes, Badwater Basin has a rich history shaped by the forces of nature. The area surrounding is a vast expanse of salt flats, shaped by the extreme heat and lack of rainfall. What is the friendliest state in the US? Let's find out. Ranking 5th on the list is Wyoming. Wyoming, the least populated state, has more small towns than big cities, making a friendlier atmosphere where residents tend to be kinder to strangers. Next up is Texas. Known as the friendly state, Texas earns its status thanks to its kind and helpful residents, who extend warmth not only to each other, but also to tourists, without discrimination. Claiming the third spot is South Carolina. This state offers many benefits such as low crime rate, affordable housing prices, and comfortable year-round temperatures. South Carolinians are notably welcoming to tourists. Second place belongs to Tennessee. Overflowing with Southern charm and hospitality, residents are proud and eager to make friends with visitors and show them all that their state has to offer. And the friendliest state of all is none other than Minnesota. The term Minnesota nice greatly describes its residents, who are known for their extra politeness. Which country has the most billionaires? The first place might or might not surprise you. Let's take a look. 5th on the list is the biggest country in the world. Russia has 120 billionaires as of April 2024. Next up is Germany, with 132 of its residents being billionaires. Germany's billionaires are heavily concentrated in the automotive, manufacturing, and technology sectors. Third place goes to the upcoming global superpower, India. India currently has 200 billionaires, a number set to double in the next 5 to 10 years. Second place goes to China. As of April 2024, China has a staggering 406 billionaires. This impressive number is a testament to China's rapid economic growth and the rise of tech giants. And the first place goes to none other than the United States of America. The US has 813 billionaires as of now, which means that for every 1 million people, there are roughly 2.4 billionaires. Are you a billionaire yet? Most Americans don't know that the poorest county in the US only has a median household income of just $17,900. The poorest county in the US is Issaquena County, located in the state of Mississippi, which has a median household income of just $17,900. With such low income, the county's population of 1,338 faces significant economic challenges. The county's economy has traditionally revolved around agriculture, with a particular focus on cotton farming. We also have to mention that in 1860, 92.5% of Issaquena County's total population were enslaved people, the highest concentration anywhere in the United States. Additionally, there are no schools located in Issaquena County. Students often have to attend campuses in neighboring Sharkey and Washington counties. Despite the economic challenges, the residents of Issaquena County have shown remarkable resilience and a strong sense of community. Which countries could cease to exist in the near future? Part 6. First on the list is Taiwan. The island nation's sovereignty has been under constant threat from China, which claims Taiwan as its territory. Despite Taiwan's democratic government and de facto independence, China has increased military pressure and diplomatic efforts to isolate Taiwan internationally. The ongoing tensions, coupled with the potential for conflict, raise concerns about Taiwan's long-term viability as an independent nation. Next on the list is South Sudan. The world's youngest nation is grappling with existential challenges. Years of civil war and political instability have left South Sudan fractured. With rival factions fighting for control and foreign powers meddling in the country's affairs, the future of South Sudan is uncertain. What is the least corrupt country in the world? Let's take a look. First of all, the most corrupt country in the world, according to the latest reports, is Somalia with a corruption index score of 11. But what is the least corrupt country? The fifth least corrupt country is Singapore with an impressive score of 83. Singapore is also the least corrupt country in all of Asia. Following closely is Norway at the fourth spot with a corruption index score of 84. Scandinavian countries are known to not be corrupt. The third spot belongs to New Zealand, a nation famous for its transparency and integrity, with a corruption index of 85, the highest in Oceania. The top two countries might not surprise you at all. The second least corrupt country in the world is Finland, with a corruption index of 87, and the least corrupt country in the world is none other than Denmark. This Scandinavian nation has a remarkable corruption index score of 90, placing it at the very top of the rankings. Have you ever asked yourself why Washington, D.C. is not part of any state? Let me explain. First, we have to remember that Washington, D.C. was not always the capital. George Washington first took office in New York City, and then the capital was moved to Philadelphia, where it remained for a decade. Washington, D.C. was founded as the capital in 1790. When the United States was founded, the nation's capital was not given statehood in order to preserve federal impartiality and independence. As outlined in Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution, a federal district was created from land ceded by Maryland and Virginia. This allowed the capital to be separate from any state's jurisdiction, preventing any single state from having undue influence. At the time, political leaders feared that giving the capital to a state could lead to that state trying to control the entire federal government. So Washington, D.C. was established as a special federal district under the exclusive authority of Congress. What is the most remote town in the U.S.? Most Americans don't even know that this town exists. This is Glasgow, also known as the most remote town in all of the United States. Glasgow is located in the state of Montana, a staggering 4.5 hours by car in any direction from any metropolitan area, with a population of more than 75,000 people. Nestled in the vast expanse of the Great Plains, Glasgow is a true frontier town, surrounded by miles upon miles of rolling hills and endless skies. With a population of just over 3,000, this small community is a testament to the resilience and ruggedness of the American spirit. Life in Glasgow moves at a slower pace, where neighbors still wave to each other on the street. Here are some facts you may not know about North Korea. The last one is absolutely crazy. Let's begin. Every North Korean household is required to display portraits of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. If the house is on fire, it's mandatory to rescue the leaders' portraits before anything else, including their children, or they may face jail time. People in North Korea are not allowed to wear blue jeans because they are viewed as a symbol of U.S. imperialism. North Korea have the biggest football stadium in the world. The Mayday Stadium, built in 1989, has a capacity of 150,000. North Koreans are only allowed to browse 28 websites. Their internet, called Kwangmyong, is free to use for those with access to a computer, but owning a computer there is extremely rare. You may need government permission to do so. In North Korea, people in rural areas are forced to give their poop to the government to be used as fertilizer to help the country's agriculture. What is the most LGBT-friendly country in the world? Let's take a look. First, let's start with a country that is the least friendly to the LGBT community. The least LGBT-friendly country is Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, same-sex sexual activity is prohibited under Sharia law, and offenders face the death penalty without question. Now, onto the most LGBT-friendly countries. Fifth on the list is Canada, which has an equality index of 83. In fourth place, we have Malta, a small yet LGBT-friendly country in Europe with an equality index of 86. The third spot is claimed by Denmark, known for its equality and beauty, with an equality index of 87. Second place belongs to Norway, having an equality index of 88, the highest in all of Scandinavia. And finally, the most LGBT-friendly country in the world is none other than Iceland, with an equality index of 92, making it the most LGBT-friendly country globally.